get started. Good evening, our families. This is so wonderful for all of you to be joining us tonight. My name, for those of you that don't know me, I'm sure you've all been receiving all the emails from me and you've been on campus. So welcome. My name is Carly D'Amato. I am the Director of Upper School Admission at Springside Chestnut Hill Academy. Thank you so much for joining us for our Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership Information Session. We are thrilled to be sharing a bit more about this incredibly distinct program and all the things that your child can experience through it at SCH. In a moment, I am going to be introducing these individuals on the screen. They are our incredible upper school students at SCH, as well as the director of the Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership, Ed Glassman. Wait and say hello. They are going to be giving you insight into what CEL has to offer your children and the incredible, programs, businesses, and ideas that the students have been developing through CEL. So without further ado, and at the end, what I should say is they're going to chat about the program. At the end, we want to open the floor to families so that you can ask any questions that you might be curious about. Some questions have been submitted in advance, so we'll be sure to address those questions throughout this information session, but anything that might come up along the way, feel free to raise your hand and let us know. Ed, I'll let you introduce everyone, but for starters, I'll turn it over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Carly. Nice to meet everybody. My name's Ed Glassman. I have the honor of being the director of SCH Academy's Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership, as well as our new media technology program. I'm an alum of the school, class of 2003. I have two sons at the school, a first grader named Theo, a child in the early childhood center named Harrison. I have the best job in the world because I get to work with the incredible young people that you see on the screen right now, as well as countless others, as they bring really interesting entrepreneurial ideas to life. I think the best way to do this would be to start by having each of our students who have joined us here tonight unmute, introduce themselves. You guys can say your name, your grade, tell us a little bit about your venture or your project, and maybe just a little bit about No?
We may have lost Mr. Glassman for a second there.
Can you guys still hear me? I'm sorry about that.
Well, that's okay.
No?
You are
Off camera, but you can hear me? All right.
Yes.
Okay, while I try to fix that, Brendan, why don't you start us off and then we can just go to Jenna, to Annabella, and I'll work on the camera.
All right, so my name's Brendan Flado, and my project is called Game Time Sports, and it's a project where I'm bringing sports broadcasting to SCH. So recently we just had our Under the Lights games at SCH, and I got to broadcast those. And yeah, that's basically what my project is for now.
Jenna, you want to go next?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Jenna. I'm in 11th grade. I've been going here since 9th grade. And my project is trying to make sports equipment more accessible and cheaper for everyone, so more people can have the opportunity to participate in sports because it has such a positive effect on people's lives.
Mackenzie?
Hi, I'm Mackenzie. I'm in 11th grade and I came here in 9th grade. I'm a lead ambassador. I play basketball and I run track, and I'm also in Black Student Union. My project is called Students for Sustainability, and its aim is to bring sustainable efforts back into our school community. And my goal is to bring composting back into our cafeterias and reduce food waste. So yeah, that's my project.
Ron?
My name is Ron. I came in my freshman year. I'm in my senior year now. My brand is IGB. It means I get busy. I started this in about a year ago. I started out last November. And Yeah, I just have a whole bunch of athletic clothing and also athleisure apparel.
Annabelle?
Hi, I'm Annabella. I'm a senior at SCH and I came in kindergarten. And my project is Green Line, and my goal is to harness environmental education and design to empower eco-conscious students to have a positive impact on their community. And I'm trying to do this by starting community gardens, first at SCH and then hopefully at other schools in the future. And I'm also a part of cross country and the head of service council. And I started CEL in 10th grade with capstone, but I really started working on my project like at the end of 9th grade.
How about Trey?
Hi, my name's Trey. I'm in 11th grade. I've been here since 1st grade, and my venture is a comic book publishing company that gives aspiring artists the tools to basically make their own comic in a easy, like all in one place.
Fantastic. Michael?
Me and my partner, which is Ethan, we are funding and starting up a golf athlete scholarship for SCH, in which the recipient will be from a golf nonprofit called First Tee.
Ethan, do you want to add anything to that?
No, I was just gonna say I'm Ethan, and I'm also working on the same project. I've been here since 6th grade, and I'm in 11th grade right now.
Ed, I'll pass it back over to you. I think we got everybody.
Great, wonderful. Sorry for the technical difficulties. So I think the best way to structure this will be I'll take 10 minutes to kind of provide an overview of the program from a curriculum standpoint. I'll start with kind of the middle school curriculum at a high level, because I know we have a couple of families here who are considering starting in middle school, probably focus more on the high school curriculum, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. And then after I go through that information, we'll have some more in-depth conversation with our students here about lessons learned, their experience along the way, and then we can open it up for questions. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to start with a video. It's a little embarrassing because the video is me talking for a lot of it, but hopefully you can just bear with me, and it'll give you a nice look at like what the campus is all about, especially with our entrepreneurship spaces and our maker spaces. So let's fire this up. We have this amazing opportunity from a very young age to instill the mindset of an entrepreneur into every one of our students at SCH. The Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership is an engine for innovation. Through a collection of incredible project-based courses, we train students to think and act like entrepreneurs.
I came to SCH as a 4th grader, and I was really intrigued by the program, along with my parents. Everyone thinks it's so cool.
So I switched schools going into 10th grade. The main impetus for the change was CEL.
I know my little sister might come here, and this was a big reason she wants to come.
You'll come out with one of the most stellar projects and one of the most stellar experiences of your life.
Resources that we have are also extremely beneficial to us and are also a great introduction to world beyond high school.
It absolutely changed the educational landscape.
And my project is called Taco Battle. It's a card game that inspires people to discuss their mental health.
The nonprofit that I'm working on right now is called Helping the Homeless Backpacks.
I've had to learn how to design a website and market my product on Instagram and other social media apps.
It's an opportunity for me to bring my idea from the idea phase to fruition. We're trying to support these children through a free medical school education.
And it really overall teaches the skills of communication, presentations, engineering and robotics, coding.
My project is called Girl Go. We originally designed it so that women could feel safer in rideshare cars.
The vest project was high visibility, so like what crossing guards would wear.
We direct traffic to make sure everyone's safe.
I've learned so much from all of the mentors in the CEO program.
In 10, 20 years from now, I'm going to be in their shoes. I'm going to be running my own company.
It's not about what grade you're getting, it's about the lessons that you're learning from the program.
It has definitely helped me figure out what I want to pursue when I'm older.
Every single class that I've taken has been totally eye-opening.
So I always say that I owe everything and the person who I am today to the CEL program.
Wonderful. I hope that Carly, can everybody still hear me and see the slides? Hello?
Yep, they can.
Wonderful. Great. I hope that video wasn't too redundant. You saw it on the website, but I think that it's a better look at our campus than the backgrounds that we all have up here. So that's a bit about the Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership. Let's dig into it in more depth. We about a decade ago, were wrestling with how can you take a school that has, close to 300 years of combined history and this rigorous college preparatory environment, and layer on all the 21st century skills that I think we all would agree are vital for our kids to have success in careers and bring great ideas to life and change the world in positive, ethical ways. And kind of the banner that we put over all of that is entrepreneurship. We believe as an institution that having the mindset of an entrepreneur and the skills to analyze problems, develop creative solutions, and own projects of kids' own volition is like maybe the most important thing they can learn and will be like rocket fuel for them as they make their way into college. So the way we've structured this curriculum is kind of at the intersection of business, design, and technology. Beginning in 5th grade, every year, every student at the school has 3 different unique CEL classes, trimester long. There are classes in everything from new media technology, augmented reality, virtual reality, video game design, to audio engineering, to how businesses can make a positive social impact in the world in 6th grade social entrepreneurship, to engineering, to coding, to some of the things that you would expect from an entrepreneurship program like my 8th grade class, Money Matters, where the students learn about personal finance, investment, and entrepreneurship, or the 9th grade class, Business Fundamentals. So every student at the school takes all of these classes in middle school, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. Beginning in 9th grade, which I know is what a lot of you are considering, you will get a course selection form, and you'll have details on all 4 of these classes listed. And you'll kind of pref them, rank them 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th in terms of what would be most appealing to you. You take 2 of them in your freshman year, 1 in the fall semester, 1 in the spring semester. So there's a class on product design, which is in our makerspace, where this year students are developing physical products that help people interact with nature in better and more authentic ways. There's a class in our award-winning robotics department where students learn about how to design original electronics and microprocessors using Arduinos and circuits and Raspberry Pi microcomputers. There's a course that's an introduction to business fundamentals. And then there's a course that's all about mobile app development for iOS Apple devices that's very coding focused. So that's the 9th grade experience. Then the 10th grade experience is kind of a choose your own adventure. We call it the capstone. So the students begin the semester, we stand up in front of them with the 10 CEL teachers and we say, hey, what are you passionate about? What are skills that you have or you want to develop? And what are problems that you want to solve in the world? And from there, they design their own unique entrepreneurial project. Those projects can take a ton of different forms. We have a studio model. There's a studio focused on traditional for-profit business. There's a studio focused on app development and software development. There's a studio that takes place in a robotics lab that we call the Invention Studio. There's a studio that's kind of a new media catch-all for students that want to make original documentary films or record an album or build a virtual reality video game. And then they kind of like spend the whole semester going through this process where they determine an opportunity, research it in depth, design a prototype, and then pitch it in this large showcase at the end of the term. So that's 9th grade, 10th grade. And then the students that are with us this evening have opted into an elective in 11th and 12th grade that's called the Venture Accelerator. We have a small startup fund. We have a storefront on Germantown Avenue for pop-up shops. We have an e-commerce platform called shopcel.org. Go there today and you can shop for Ron's products right there. And we also have just a bunch of mentors, hundreds and hundreds of experts from multiple industries from across the country that come to work with our students in that program. And the objective of Venture Accelerator is to move from tested, vetted concept and prototype to a real operating commercial venture, be it for-profit or non-for-profit. So we push these students to bring their ideas to life. We believe that high school students have the same sorts of capabilities as college students. I mean, that's kind of the core mission of our school, but we certainly live that in the Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership. And last year, for example, in CEL, the students that you saw in that video won 8 global awards, earning over $10,000 in scholarships and grants. They raised over $40,000 in 1 year alone for various social impact ventures. Over 30 ventures were launched. I consider a venture launched when it's generated over $500 in revenue. Pretty impressive for high school kids. And media coverage both locally and nationally. So this is an engine for our kids to do amazing things. It helps them live their dreams. It certainly helps them with the college application process. And it's a big part of what makes our school unique. So that is kind of an overview of the program. Now I think it's time to dive into some of the questions that we've had our students prepare for this evening. So we all already shared the current project, business, or non-profit that you're working on. The question I'd like some of you to reflect on is, what has been the most inspiring or transformational experience in your CEL journey at our school? It could be about Venture Accelerator or anything else that you've done within the realm of CEL. Annabella, why don't you kick us off?
Okay, well, for me, it's definitely like reaching out to other experts in your interest outside of SCH, because like I know I've talked to a lot of people inside SCH, but the ones outside have like given me a lot of advice and like kind of like pushed me more forward with my project, because it's like they know more about the things that I wouldn't know about, or like anyone at SCH really would know about. So it's been like definitely helpful and inspirational hearing from them.
Great, thank you, Annabella. Would anybody else like to answer that prompt? Trey.
For me, it was really like, go do whatever you want, go have fun with it, go be creative, and just having somebody behind me saying, go be creative, go change the world, go do all these amazing things was really like inspirational for me.
Thank you, Trey. Anybody else? Jenna, go ahead.
I guess, well, it was inspiring to see that the actual impact you can cause. Like last year, I raised money for sports equipment under Leveling the Playing Field, and I actually raised over $4,000 of equipment, and that was nice to like have an actual result from my work.
Thank you, Jenna. Mackenzie.
For me, CEL has made me make like many relationships and connections with people I wouldn't have thought I would. And also what Annabella said, I've made a lot of connections with people outside of the school community that were really helpful with my project. So that's something CEL has really helped me with to move forward with my project.
Great, thank you, Mackenzie. Anyone else? Okay, good, good. I mean, we touched on a couple of key themes there that we talk about often. I mentioned earlier the mindset of an entrepreneur. For us, that has 4 pillars. We want students to be resilient. We want them to be resourceful. We want them to be what we call opportunity seekers, which means when they see challenges or problems in the world, they don't throw up their hands and say, boy, I wish someone could do something about that. They feel empowered and brave enough to say, hey, I could make that change or bring that idea to life. And then we want them to be creative problem solvers. And part of being resourceful, one of the 4 pillars, is what many of you shared, right? Building that network, connecting with adults, making the phone call, sending the professional sounding email, and hosting the meeting. So thank you for sharing those thoughts. The other part of the program is being resilient and overcoming obstacles. And we all know that there are challenges that come up. For the next prompt, I'd love to hear if anyone would like to talk about the most challenging experience that they've had in CEL and how you responded and what did you learn along the way. Brendan.
So for my project, one of the most challenging things that happened for me was so I'm starting sports broadcasting at SCH, and it hasn't been done in a really long time. So none of the facilities weren't really built for it when I started my project. So last year when I tried to do a baseball game, the Wi-Fi couldn't handle the broadcast. And then this year I had to cancel a couple broadcasts because of different tech issues and weather issues. But I kept working in CEL, and now I'm doing my project. So that's something that CEL has definitely helped me with.
Great. Thank you, Brendan. Ron, how about you go next?
So CEL has helped me build a website and helped me reach out to other people outside of SCH. So beforehand, I was only getting like sales from either family or like from people like of friends like at SCH. So CEL has helped me get people from outside of the SCH community to like buy stuff on our website.
Great, great. Mike, how about you?
For me, it was starting a whole new project from one year to the next, because our first project, it wasn't really going to go anywhere. So in Capstone for the next year in Venture Accelerator, we rethought of a new project, and that's what we're doing now.
Yeah,
So
certainly takes.
flexibility is great.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it certainly takes resilience to start a new project on Venture Accelerator. You guys have shown that. Annabella?
Okay, for mine, it was probably like last year when I worked on my project for like majority of the year. And my original project was like to transform a trolley car into a greenhouse and have it like functioning as like a mobile greenhouse that grew fruit and like sells fresh fruit and stuff. But then I had a meeting with the chief innovation officer of SEPTA, and she was kind of like, I don't know how possible that's going to be. So I kind of had to like take a lot of steps back and rethink what else I could do to accomplish like my goal. So I kind of like rethought what I could do. And now I'm like doing community things at SCH and hopefully other schools. So yeah.
Thank you, Annabella. I think your project is a great example of this philosophy we have of a school or as a program around think global and act local. We anchor a lot of our education, especially in middle school, on the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which are kind of this collection of global objectives to address poverty and homelessness and sickness and unemployment. And we really want our students to understand those problems in depth, but we also really want them to take action. And I think that's part of what makes CEL really unique. I spend a lot of time attending entrepreneurship pitch competitions for students, and there's a lot of really thoughtful business plans with 5-year projections, but there is not a lot of real evidence of the students actually taking the risk and going out and trying to pitch their idea to key stakeholders or sell their product with market evidence. That's what makes CEL really unique. Is I would much rather have this collection of young people get out there and talk to experts and try their idea than know the basics of a balance sheet and a cash flow statement. They'll get there. Ron's getting there, but the evidence of him having to like go to Germantown Avenue and try to sell stuff to hundreds of people walking by, I think is the real more important life lesson. And Annabella, you just shared a great example of that, right? You had the dream of the trolley. We loved that dream. You built a prototype of that in our space. But now you're like, how can I actually take action to inspire more young people to want to eat sustainably, grow fruits and vegetables? I think it's wonderful. Does anybody else want to talk about challenging experiences that they've had in CEL and how they grew or persevered? Okay, great. Let's move on to the next prompt. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Ethan, you just raised your hand. Go ahead, bub.
I was just going to build off of Michael's point from earlier. So scrapping our project at the beginning of 11th grade was definitely a struggle for us. But with help from all the CEL teachers in the different aspects of starting up our scholarship was definitely helpful for us.
Great. Thank you. The next question that I have is, how does CEL prepare students for their experiences in college and career? So this is going to force you to kind of project a little bit. We only have one senior on the call, but the rest of you are juniors and you're all thinking about your college applications. Does anybody have any thoughts on how, oh, right, I'm sorry, Annabella, of course. It's just hard for me to imagine you leaving. That's the problem. Does anybody want to share any thoughts about how the experience in this program you think might help you in college, might help you with applying to college, might help you beyond college? Thoughts on those things? Let's go with Trey first, and then we'll go to Brendan.
Well, I really like comic books and my venture deals with comic books. So, for me, I hope eventually this will turn into like a huge thing and I can make comic books for the rest of my life, or I'll go work for Marvel or DC or something like that. But it really makes me think of my future and where I could go with these big dreams and ambitions I want to pursue. And it also, doing something like this looks really good on a college like a resume, or applying to colleges is yeah.
Thank you, Trey. Brendan?
So in college, I plan on studying something that has to do with sports media, but like in particular sports broadcasting. So I feel like the project that I'm working on now is really going to help me because I'll have experience in sports broadcasting, but also I'll have experience in like dealing with like when stuff doesn't go right every time, which will help me in college and in a career.
Well said. Ron?
So for the colleges that I'm applying to, I'm going for business and finance. So I'm looking to extend with my brand outside. So that's going to help me. And then I'm also learning all these tools from SCH, like how to use, Ms. Fajardo taught me how to use Adobe Illustrator, which helped me a lot with making prototypes of my clothing to help get my stuff out there. So I've learned a lot of skills with that.
Great. Thank you, Ron. Before we get to Annabella, you actually gave me a nice opportunity to mention that, like, our school, one of the reasons, one of the secrets behind this program is that, a lot of the schools that you might be looking at have built maker spaces, and they probably have electives in entrepreneurship for 11th and 12th graders or something. But we as a school said, we're not just going to build the spaces like you saw in the video, but we're going to commit programmatic time, like credit bearing time, and we're going to hire specific faculty and staff with a wealth of experience that might not fit into a normal prep school. So Ron mentioned Juliet Fajardo. She's one of 12 SCH Academy faculty members that kind of sit at the intersection of engineering, robotics, coding, new media. She's a licensed architect. She's an expert in all things design and fabrication. So that's another part of the benefit of going to our school, is you're working with folks that have been there and done it and have professional lives outside of the school and are bringing that knowledge to bear in the CEL and engineering classes they teach. Annabella.
Okay, well, for mine, for like that would be good to take to college. I mean, like my product is very community based, and a lot of like the supplemental essays I have to write are like, what are ways that you've impacted your community, or like how would you be a good like impact on our community? So I feel like taking what I've done in my CL project and like being able to write about that and like how I could bring it to college with me has been like so helpful. So
Wonderful. Thank you. Michael? I'm sorry, Michael, you're muted, buddy.
Sorry. Going off of what like Ron said about these skills that we're learning, like how to pitch ideas or like how to make a promotional video, those are things that are like you're gonna need in life no matter what you do.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, I have one last prompt here, and then we can open up to questions.
Did Mackenzie want to chat?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I miss Mackenzie? Go ahead, Mackenzie.
I was just gonna say that CEL has taught me to take initiative and have a lot of leadership skills. I mean, in Capstone, I found a problem within our community, and CEL has taught me how to solve that. So I learned a lot of problem-solving skills also.
Thank you. Sorry, I missed you, Mackenzie. All right, so the last question is kind of about the CEL classes themselves. All of you take these, core required classes, and you also have taken a bunch of classes in the Center for Entrepreneurial Leadership. What do you think makes the CEL classes unique? What do you think the prospective families that are on our call should know about the CEL program as they are considering SCH for their kids? We'll start with Brendan, and then we can go to Annabella.
Well, I think that the CEL classes aren't like your typical like class where like there's a teacher like lecturing the class, but it's more like you get to pick what you like want to focus on, and then the teachers are there to help you. Like I know with the engineering classes, Mr. Randall always says that he's not teaching us, he's helping us. So like I feel like it's sort of like that, and that you kind of control like what you want to be learning in the class.
Great, thank you. Annabella?
okay, well, SCH is kind of like unique because they start CEL at such a young age. Like I remember like in first grade, we were doing coding in like our computer lab, and like we did it like all through lower school and middle school, and even like you can choose to continue it in high school. But like they just like introduce new things each year, and they focus on different aspects of the CEL world, and like that will help you in life too. So I think that like SCH is very special in that way, that they try to start at a very young age.
Thank you, Annabella. Ron?
I would say that it's unique because it's not for a grade. It's to build whatever like you want to do. Like obviously there's like a grade with it, but the grade is what you put into it. It's what's the effort you put into it. So I think that's pretty unique compared to other classes.
Great. Thank you, Ron. Jenna?
I also think it's unique because you get to really like work on what you're interested in, and like you're required to take like so many classes, but like this class you can actually like work on something that like you're passionate about and that you'd like actually want to do for your like life.
Thank you. Mackenzie?
To like add on what Jenna and Brendan were saying, CEL really like caters to your own interests and what you want to do. Like even like in 9th grade when I did app development, like I made my own app with like what I wanted to be about, and then with microprocessors, I had like my own final project. So like all the teachers around are really helping you with your interest and what you're focused on doing. So yeah.
Great. Thank you, Mackenzie. If there's nothing else to add, I think we should open up for questions. Carly, should I start with the 2 questions that were submitted in advance?
I think that's a great idea. And then we do have a couple questions that have been submitted over the course of the session. Families, if you have additional questions, please use the Q&A feature.
Great. So the first question that was submitted was for projects in CEL and or robotics, how and when do students participate? How does this reconcile time on these projects with athletics? So great question. As I explained in my upfront, one thing that makes the school unique is these are not extracurricular activities. Robotics, engineering, entrepreneurship, this is all built into the course curriculum during the day. We operate on a 7-day schedule. These classes mostly meet 3 times per 7-day cycle until you get into the upper school electives. Then it's 5 times per 7 days. So, you're spending at a minimum 3 hours a week working in these skill sets. Joining our high school robotics program, First Robotics, former world champs, that is an after school activity, but you earn that as a sports credit. So you could play, 2 sports, and then your winter sport could be building a robot. So that's pretty cool. We also do that for players. Those are like 2 non-sport activities that generate a sport requirement. We have athletes on this call right now. I think you guys would all agree that you're able to balance your CEL work with athletics. And in Ron's case, and in Michael and Ethan's case, their athletics actually enhance their ventures, right? Like Michael and Ethan are partnered with First Tee. They're recruiting the players from the golf team to go and do coaching. Ron's able to use the guys in the basketball program as like models and ambassadors for his fitness line. So, we make it work. We're all about like the multi-hyphenate kids. That's important as a school. And then I got a question about Takori. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. How will you assist Takori with growing her entrepreneurial business? If her parents are on the line, do you want to just give us? No, not on. Okay, cool. Well, if she ever follows up, we can give more details. What other questions came through?
Okay, so one question that always comes up, and I think it's really important to touch upon with our students that join new in 9th grade specifically is, do you feel that you were at any sort of disadvantage joining in 9th grade and not having the courses from the middle school that were part of the CEL program?
Any new 9th graders that want to touch on that? Ron, you want to
go? So I'll say, at least at my old school, we also had like these little electives that you could have. It was like mostly out of school stuff. So it wasn't as like big as SCH CEL, but we had coding and all that. But I wouldn't say I was at a disadvantage, mainly because I was so into it. Like I was so into doing the designs for clothes and all that. So I wouldn't really say I was at a disadvantage.
Yeah, before Jenna goes, I just want to add on to what Ron said. He said I was so into it. I mean, I would say if you're a new 9th grader, as long as you bring us like the passion and enthusiasm and you see this program as something that's like special, we're going to ensure that you have an amazing journey and you achieve everything you want to achieve. What I struggle with new 9th graders is when they show up and they enter their CEL classes and the posture is like, why am I here? What even is this? Like, if you're going to be a new student at SCH, I'm glad you're here on this webinar so you can hear about this program because it really is a special thing. No other school in the world does it like this. So don't worry about the skills that you missed in 8th grade. Just worry about bringing the fire and like the willingness to learn and take risks and try things, and you're gonna have all the success. Jenna?
I remember going into 9th grade, definitely like feeling intimidated that other people might have like known more about entrepreneurship than me. But like after my first year in 9th grade, like I confidently, like because of all the help from the teachers and like just the support and like my strong interest in it, I felt like at the end of the year, like if anything, I was ahead of the students that came before because I learned so much that year.
Good. Wonderful. Mackenzie?
Yeah, I agree with what Jenna said. In 9th grade, I took app development and microprocessors, which were very coding based. And I had never done coding before coming to SCH, and I did not feel behind at all. Like, if you are having trouble, the teachers are really helpful in that too. So
great. Thank you, guys. What else do we have on the docket?
Another question is, does the program teach finance, accounting, taxation, and investment, angle and bank aspects of developing a startup?
Yeah, great questions. So the
Angel.
play, I'm sorry, what was that?
I said angle. I should have said angel.
Angle, got it. Yeah, there are a bunch of places we touch on those topics. You know, my 8th grade class is all about that, about personal finance and investment, although I know a lot of us aren't looking at 8th grade. The 9th grade business fundamentals class talks about the financial side of starting a business in some real, yeah, as much depth as you can get into in an intro semester class. So if a student is interested in that, I would highly recommend they pref business fundamentals as their first choice. Capstone, if you are in the startup studio and you're interested in for-profit business, that's another place you get it. There is a math elective in high school that is a combination of statistics and finance. That is another place at SCH Academy where we have those resources available. There's also a fairly robust investment club at our school, led by the same teacher that teaches business fundamentals and runs the startup studio. That's another place that you can get that information. The work in Venture Accelerator around the financial side of business varies business to business. Like if a business is at a place where they're generating significant revenue, where they need to form an LLC, where they need to start to file taxes, you know, where they need to worry about a cash flow statement, we work on that and we identify mentors for it. I mean, we brought in a lawyer, what was it, guys, 3 weeks ago to talk about, you know, a lot of those aspects. I'm also on the writing team for the college board that is developing or like thinking about developing a new business curriculum. And we're piloting pieces of that in real time at our school. So I would say it is a component of what we offer. I will be honest though, we do not offer AP macroeconomics, AP microeconomics. So we don't have a hardcore econ class available as of now. I'm working on it behind the scenes. But, you know, I just want to make sure you're going in with both eyes open. We have a robust entrepreneurship program, but we do not have those electives available.
Thank you. A couple more questions are coming in. Phenomenal. Are there any limits to what the startups and ventures can be?
No, honestly. I mean, I've done thousands, and anything you could think of, we've worked on. You know, we try to avoid like syntax related stuff. Like we wouldn't let a kid, you know, I don't know, do something immoral. We try to build ethical into our program. But, you know, aside from that, yeah, like anything a kid comes up with, we try to help them achieve it. You know, sometimes they run into the limits of their own technical capabilities, right? So like Michael and Ethan were trying to develop this mobile app that, you know, had like kind of gambling plus fantasy sports all rolled into one. It was a cool idea, and they built a wireframe, right, guys? But eventually we got to the point where it was like, all right, well, how are we going to code this? And they had to look in the mirror and say, do we want to take our mobile app coding sequence over the next 3 years of our career here? Is that something we're passionate about? Do we want to hire a coder once we got the quote of what it would take to make this, or do we want to pivot? And they pivoted. But I've had kids that have decided they want to do something very tech focused. We have an elective sequence for that. If kids are willing to put in the work, they can bring anything to life. You know, we've had fairly impressive mobile apps and software platforms launched by students, and those kids go on to major in computer science or engineering in college. Is there a particular idea that you want me to give feedback on? Because I'd love to talk about it.
We'll see if another question, a follow-up comes in about it.
Okay.
What percentage of students' projects live beyond their tenure at SCH?
I don't know. To date, I think it's like it's less than 10%. You know, it takes a special sort of kid that launches something in their, you know, junior, senior of high school and then gets to college and is overwhelmed with the opportunities and keeps it going. But, you know, to be fair, programs are around 10 years. We've only had, you know, 3 graduating classes worth of kids that have really been through the whole program front to back in the way it's currently constructed. And I've had some crazy success stories. In fact, I went to a homeless support network event in Kensington 2 weeks ago, and this flatbed truck pulled up and it opened up, and there were 2,000 of these backpacks in there with kind of all the essentials and toiletries you need if you're home and secure in Philadelphia. And that was one of our kids that started it. She's at University of North Carolina. She still has it going. It's in 10 states. She's donated close to 25,000 backpacks now. I mean, there are examples of kids that like get lit up at our school and go on and keep the train rolling. It's really amazing.
That was
actually, can I say one more thing about that? Sorry. One of the things that I really, really value about this program is it is a safe environment to try and fail, right? Like these guys don't have to take out a mortgage. They don't have to take a risk financially or otherwise to launch these ventures. So it's kind of a safe environment for that. And I think some of the best lessons learned from our entrepreneurs come from the obstacles and the failures. It's not just about the successes, although we have hundreds of what I would consider real successes.
And Ed, how many students would you say continue on in the Venture Accelerator after 10th grade?
We got about 30 on average every year. It meets every block of every day. So we make space for anybody that wants to be part of it. But right now it's about 30 students across the junior and senior class.
Great. Families, any additional questions for our amazing, inspiring, incredible students, or Ed, who's also amazing and wonderful and inspiring? All right, well then I think that we are going to wrap up for the evening. All the families on this call, thank you so much for joining us. I know you've all been hearing about the program, you've seen the facilities, you've seen the spaces. Hopefully we've been able to get your children into the CEL classes during their visits, or will be able to get them into see those spaces during their visits in the future. All of you are such incredible students. Mackenzie, Jenna, Ron, Brendan, Annabella, Trey, Michael, Ethan. I think I got everyone. Thank you so much for sharing your stories and your experience in the CEL program. I wish you all the best of luck over the course of the next 2 years with your projects. Families, thank you for tonight. If you have questions moving forward, there's going to be a little poll at the end of the event where you can feel free to submit additional questions for Ed or any of the students, and we can follow up with you. And we still have a few more information sessions coming up over the next 2 weeks. We have a robotics and engineering session next week. We have an athletics session coming up. There's a recording of our arts information session from last week. So if you'd like that, you can let me know. I'm happy to share that with you. But thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's a pleasure sharing our community with you. And we look forward to getting to know your children more through the application process. So have a great evening. And thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.